All right, so this is a try this, and I know these are hard to do at home because you don't have graph paper. But we're going to try graphing y is less than or equal to 2. All right, so first of all, the first step is to make sure that we graph the boundary line. So we kind of replace that with an equals, and we have y equals 2. And since it is a less than or equal to, okay, that means it's going to be a solid line. So y equals 2 is right along here, like that. And I'm going to test a point, and I'm just telling you, if the line is going through 0, 0, you can't use 0, 0. But if it isn't, I always use 0, 0, because it's just easier to do. So I'm going to plug in 0, 0, which is just 0 less than or equal to 2. Is 0 less than or equal to 2? Yes. So that means that this point is in the section that gets shaded. Just like that. All right, next one. This is a little bit different, a little bit more complicated. Again, you've got to know how to graph lines. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of tricky. All right, so I'm going to make my my boundary line. So I'm going to add x to both sides. So I have 2y is greater than x plus 2. I'm going to divide by 2. And I did not divide by a negative, so I don't switch the sign. So y is greater than 1/2 x plus 1. All right, and this is a greater than sign. It doesn't have a line underneath, so I'm going to do a dotted line. All right, so I start at my y-intercept, which is 1, and I'm going up 1 over 2. That's my slope. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so boundary line is dotted. Oops. All right, there it is. Okay, and now I'm going to test a point. Again, I'm going to test 0, 0, and I'm going to plug it into the top equation. Or it's not an equation, it's an inequality. All right, so 0, there's no such thing as negative 0. So 0 plus 2 times 0 is 0 is greater than 2. Is 0 greater than 2? Class, is 0 greater than 2?
No.
Good job. So that means that this is not part of my solutions. So I'm going to highlight or shade in the top part. Okay, finally we have a story problem. Yay! Yay for story problems. Hooray! Okay, you can spend at most $10 on grapes and apples for a fruit salad. Okay, you only got 10 bucks though. Grapes cost $2.50 per pound and apples cost $1 per pound. Write and graph an inequality that represents the amounts of grapes and apples you can buy. And then identify and interpret 2 solutions of the inequality. All right, so I can spend at most $10. Okay, so that means that 10 is the very largest it can be. So I've got a less than sign here. Then I've got $2.50 for my grapes, and I have $1 per pound for my apples. So here's my equation. Now let's figure out how to graph this. Now I know that I can only have a positive amount of grapes and a positive amount of apples, so it's all going to be in the first quadrant over here. All right, so let's see. What is my x-intercept? Let's do apples. No, grapes is going to be my x-intercept. Let's do apples as my y. So if I cover this up, if I have grapes be 0, then my y-intercept, maybe I should have done, you know what, let me switch this. We're gonna make grapes x and apples y, because this is just complicated. Okay, so I'm looking for the y-intercept. That means x is 0. So my y-intercept means that x is 0. So if I plug in 0 right here, then I get 1 is less than 10. Remember, I'm treating this like an equal sign. So 10 is my y-intercept. My x-intercept is when y is 0. So if y is 0, I plug in, I plug in 0 right here. I have 250x equals 10, and that's going to be 4. So my x-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is my y-intercept. And now let's look and see what my inequality is going to be. So I'm going to try 0, 0 again. And I'm going to plug it into my inequality I have here. So I have 0 plus 0 is less than 10. Is that true?
I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, see? See what happens? I'm sitting here teaching and my own kid isn't paying any attention to me. Okay, is 0 less than 10, Lily?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Pretty positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
That means that 0, 0 is part of my solution. So, and I know, oh, that was a terrible line. And I know that it's all positive. So all of this gets colored in. So that means at any point in here, so let's say I pick this point right here. This is 3 apples and 1, 2, 3 grapes. Well, you know, like pounds. So I got 3 pounds of apples, 3 pounds of grapes, that's right here. That means I'll be able to afford it because it's within my boundary. All right? Okay, that's what I have for you. Here's my Calvin and Hobbes. And sorry these videos were so goofy, but it's almost Christmas break and I'm ready for it. So anyway, as always, if you have any questions, let me know.